Rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next is our moment of silence. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Can you please call the roll?
Trustee Reinders? Present. Trustee McNaughton? Trustee Fialco?
Present.
Trustee Consolino? Trustee Stylen? Present. Trustee Mason?
Present.
Mayor Naisky-Troike?
Present. All right, next we have community recognition. Today's recognition is a little unique. Today's recognition is a little unique. Typically, we like to recognize residents from Homer Glen who do something that stands out for another resident or our community. Many are aware of what is taking place throughout the country at several different college campuses. This recognition today has nothing to do with anything other than respect for our American flag. The Chancellor and the students of University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, demonstrated leadership, pride, courage, and respect by preventing the American flag from touching the ground after it was lowered by protesters. The students used their bodies to shield the flag from being removed once again, all while water bottles and other objects were thrown at them. The students did not do this for attention. They did this out of respect, not only for the American people, the American flag, and our country, but out of respect for all of those who are currently serving in our military, our veterans, and those who gave their lives protecting all of us. I occasionally hear these boys being referred to as frat boys, as majority of them belong to a frat, but I believe they deserve a much more respectful title. I would like to refer to these frat boys as patriots. As the mayor of Homer Glen, I would like to officially recognize the Chancellor at University of North Carolina for being a great leader to his students in a time where our youth can use some patriotic guidance. I'd like to recognize the parents of these young men for not only bringing them upright, but for teaching them the importance and the meaning behind the American flag. And finally, I'd like to applaud these fine young men who stood tall and stood brave with pride and respect for setting an example for fellow students and reminding all of us that there is still hope for our future generations. Our country's future is in the hands of generations to come. And like Ronald Reagan said, the future doesn't belong to the faint-hearted, it belongs to the brave. If this photo is an example of what our future holds, I will say our future feels much safer. On behalf of the board and the residents of Homer Glen, we thank you. Next is amendments to the agenda. Are there any amendments? Hearing none, can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make that motion.
Trustee Fialco?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. Approval of minutes. I don't think we have any on the agenda today. Public comment. First up, Lou Zemke, one of our very own veterans and commander for the American Legion post in Homer Glen. Should be. Is the button on?
Except for me.
Hello,
There you go.
that's better. I didn't plan it this way with that lead-in with North Carolina, but thank you, Madam Mayor and Village Board, for allowing me to speak tonight for a few minutes. You may or may not know that May is Poppy Month for American Legions across the country. It's a month where we provide poppies for donations, which then eventually goes to the veterans and other needy groups. This month, we will be in Homer Glen at the Jewel Food Store, Blueberry Restaurant, and Runnings on the last 2 weekends of May. I encourage you to come out, get a poppy, leave a donation. I can assure you it will go for a good cause. Last year, we gave over $18,000 in donations back to the veterans. This year, our goal is $20,000. Currently, we're at $9,000. I know with a lot of hard work, we're going to go over 20,000, but it takes a team of many, and we need all the residents in Homer Glen to helping us and supporting us. So I thank you in advance for your time and your effort to help the veterans and also needy groups. I can name a few that we donate to: the Wounded Warriors, the Fisher House, the Sinisi Foundation. We also donate to Shady Oaks, the Special Olympics, the Food Pantry for Homer Glen and Lockport. That's just a few. There's many others. We will continue our work, and we will continue to give Homer Glen a good name. You have a great Legion. We're proud to be a part of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Lou. Heidi?
Hi, my name is Heidi. I've been a community advocate in the Homer Glen area the past year, and I want to address the jurisdictional transfer. I was hoping the village can make available all the studies which the county had conducted on the road. It's my understanding that the geotech report is still concluding according to Will County DOT, so that's not available yet. But there were all kinds of studies done on the bats, the trees, environmental, if that could be made to the public so they can obtain it. Also, I have been told by several people that have tags on their trees on their property. They were wondering if and when they could be removed. You could consider getting an arborist. You could consult with an arborist. There's thousands of trees tagged, but some of these that are on property that these people are looking at, they don't want them anymore. I did reach out to an organization called the Chicago Region Trees Initiative because they are a volunteer-based group and they are tree educated and they could possibly help. They connect, advocate, and increase awareness about the trees. Also, according to the Will County DOT, the tags are aluminum and they're inventory markers. So now it's up to you what you want to do with those tags. You can leave them there, but of course the people that have trees on their property with the tags glaring with the sun and they don't want them, you have to figure out how to get those out of the tree. Also, another idea would be to keep the tags in some of the trees and make your own inventory. You can use an app, you can do all kinds of things. So anyway, the people that don't want them, maybe check up on those people first. I also wanted to say, as much as everyone is thankful that the county road construction project was stopped, it seems appropriate to still honor the road, particularly honor the people before us who literally paved the way. So having maybe a historical Will County Route 1 sign would be nice. Or another aspect is to remember the Native Americans or their tribal name who were in this area first. Also, I wanted to point out something in your booklet right here on page 3. So unfortunately, the picture you used was taken from my preservation website, and it's identical to my website photo. So the photo was taken by Kyle Sturgis. He's a Homer Glen artist, and he gave it to me to use on my website, and now it's printed in this without any type of citation or credit, and that's actually infringement and illegal, and whoever took it from the website probably should correct that. Like I said, Kyle took the photo, and it's on a copyrighted website. So, and it's right here, and all the information right here should also be credited to Sandy Vasco with the Historical Society. You can find it in this book because Community Crossroads and Native Americans come straight from here, which actually came straight from here, 1878, this book. So the wordage is almost identical. It's pretty similar, so I just wanted to point out it probably should be cited properly. And
Heidi, would you like an additional 3 minutes?
I probably need an additional 3 minutes.
Is there a motion to grant Heidi an additional 3
I'll
minutes?
make that motion.
Trustee Fialko, is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, Heidi.
Also, I just wanted to touch base on a parade which was attempted. So to make a long story short, the parade that is annually held was nixed back in September at a meeting by the mayor. So what happened last month is I got wind from the township that the township could have the parade. So I thought, wow, this is a great opportunity to use Will County Route 1 as a historical, agricultural, community event. I got everything in order, planned a lot of things, got Midwest Soaring involved, floats, music, and worked with the county, got the undersheriff's permission, Homer Fire permission. They're putting a truck in the parade. And of course, when I was about to get the permit from Will County, the jurisdictional transfer happened, which is really amazing and awesome, but then that meant that I had to go through the village to get the parade permit, and it didn't happen. So I just wanted to publicly announce that, because I had publicly announced that myself, the township, and community members were going to host this historical, awesome parade on the corridor, 1 mile of it. And actually the parade would be a community event that would solidify and strengthen your idea to have it as a heritage route, because to have a heritage corridor, you need to have events take place yearly. So that would have been a great thing, but my permit got turned down, so I just wanted to announce that. And I tried my best, and I'll just move forward on other issues. And I just wanted to say, and I said it before, that it takes a village, but also in some communities like this one, it also takes a township. So I hope everyone can work together. Thank you.
Thank you, Heidi. Teresa Concada and Dave Freedy, are you guys doing a duo? Yeah. Okay.
Neither one of us really wanted to speak, so we decided to do it together. I'm Teresa Casanda, a resident. Everybody says it wrong.
Okay,
so.
sorry.
No, I answer to a lot of things. I live here in Homer Glen for 39 years.
31.
David's here 31 years. David's from the Lockport Food Pantry. I'm just a resident. In April, Homer Glen had their food drive. And then I approached Christina, the mayor, and asked her, hey, my church does these birthday boxes. Wouldn't it be great to do these birthday boxes? We checked, and Christina was all for it. She said, let's coincide it with Homer Glen's 23rd birthday. And I thought, perfect. Our motto was, nobody should go to bed hungry, and everyone should be able to celebrate their birthday, no matter what their economic interest is. So we contacted David, asked if it would be okay with the food pantry. They loved the idea. And I thought, geez, if we could get 25 boxes put together, and the box included a metal or aluminum tray, a cake mix, birthday plates, birthday napkins, a tablecloth, candles, a spatula, some new little tool for mom to make a cake, or aunt or whatever, and frosting. And David said, yeah, let's do it.
And the Sprite.
Oh, and yes. So this is the thing. I learned so much because I met so many wonderful people doing this. One thing, I posted it on the website. Everybody was like, oh, this is great, great. So I thought if I could get 25 boxes, I would be thrilled. First thing, somebody said, Teresa, eggs are expensive, oil's expensive. You can take a can of Sprite and use that in place of all the liquids. Cake mix Sprite. I thought, oh, I don't believe this. So I made one. It's really good. This is how I'm making cakes from now on. So people don't have to use their precious eggs that they maybe want to use for a breakfast for their kids. They don't have to use it in a cake mix for a birthday. They could use a can of Sprite. So we decided, okay, let's run to Jewel, get some Sprite, and add a can of Sprite to the boxes. So that's what we did. And put instructions on, I printed instructions on sticky paper and put it right on the top. So people knew that if they didn't have eggs and oil, they could use the can of Sprite. If they wanted to use eggs and oil, they had a can of Sprite to drink. So we did that, and I wanted to do 25. When I got over 25, I was like, oh my gosh, this is really good. People were emailing me, texting me, they were calling the village hall here because they were dropping things off here. Some people were dropping things off at my home. Then we got to 50, and I was thrilled. Now we're at 75, and I'm just overwhelmed at 75. So thank you, Christina, for allowing me to spearhead this. It was a great thing for me to do. I got reconnected with neighbors. I met so many new wonderful people. I met Penny in your office. I met David, and I met Kathy at the Blackport Food Pantry. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
And if this is a goal for next year, I think it would be fun to do it again next year. Thank you.
And we appreciate both of you, the food pantry and all your efforts. We really do.
We appreciate your help.
Thank you.
So thank you.
Thank you. And we did recognize you guys at the last meeting.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, that will close public comments. We are going to move on to reports and communications from President and other officers. Manager Joe Faber.
Thank you, Mayor. First off, this is also Public Service Employee Week, along with a numerous amount of different weeks and months and days we seem to have going on. But I would like to thank all public servants, including the village staff. Public servants include countless occupations: doctors, nurses, firemen, policemen, and the staff here. And without these public servants at every level, continuity would be impossible in this democracy we have that regularly changes with its leaders and elected officials. So I would just like to acknowledge public service employees. Also, I would also, in following up with Heidi's comments, the village would like to acknowledge Mr. Kyle Surgis for the village's use of a photo he had taken on Hadley Road, and it was used in our latest newsletter distribution. I think with social media, these things happen. We don't know where some of these photos come and go, and it's something that we need to look at a little bit more closely so it doesn't happen in the future. As far as events go, Schilling Field Day will be happening this Friday between 7:30 and 2 at Heritage Park. They anticipate about 650 attendees out in Heritage Park with students with different activities. The village's first event of the season kicks off with Kite Fest at 11 to 3 on Saturday at Heritage Park. Chicago Kite will be flying their giant kites and selling kites. The village will be giving away more than 100 kites and conducting a coloring contest. We will have food vendors along with Homer Township Library Bookmobile. Homer Glen Junior Women's Club will be handing out milkweed seeds, and Cross of Glory Church will be providing games. Sponsor State Farm Michelle Kerfin will also be providing face painters and giveaways. Our next event after that will be stargazing on Friday, May 17th on the east side of Heritage Park and Animal Quest Critters in the community room. That's all I have. Thank you.
Moving on to the trustees. Trustee Fielko.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Homerfest is 7 weeks away. Our fireworks is on Thursday, June 27th at dusk. But everything is ready to go with Homerfest. I hear we got the liquor license and the wheels in motion. So I don't think that we're gonna have a great fest, and it'll be for those 4 days, the 27th, 28th, 29th, and 30th. To look what's going on for those 4 days, you can go to homerfest.com. In addition to that, in the upper right-hand corner, there's a little drop-down. We're looking for volunteers. We are a little short on volunteers. It happens every year because some people wait to the end based on vacations that happen at that time of the year too. But if you could take a look and see if any time slot fits into your schedule, just go to homerfest.com, upper right-hand corner, tap on those 2 bars, and it'll put a drop down for volunteering at the bottom. So I want to thank you in advance for that. Also for the fest, I talked to Gia, and we're looking into getting a grant for Homerfest for 2025 at least. So, and I know I won't be here, but we've still got the wheels in motion to try and get that to go through. We did try for a grant last year with the state. We were turned down. I don't know if it was because of the monetary amount or if it, for whatever reason, we asked them for that reason. We did not get an answer. But this year we have somebody that's working on grants for us that we hired. So we're going to give that a chance and see how we can do for getting some money to make things maybe even a little bigger and a little bit better for Homerfest 2025. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Trustee Reinders.
Thank you, Mayor. A couple things. On Friday, our Parks Committee, we met with Kevin from the Lakota Group, and each member of our committee was able to give them their ideas of what the revision for the park, Heritage Park, is moving forward. So that was a very informative meeting, and we're looking forward to expediting as soon as possible to get all the changes underway. We know this is of great importance to our veterans. They're waiting for the Veterans Memorial, so I'm going to work with Kevin as closely as I can to get that to happen as sooner than later, Lou. So another thing I wanted to talk about was today we had a ribbon cutting over at Stonebridge Park. I just want to thank all of our parks people, Jennifer Vittori, Ashley, Chris, and Elena, and all of the parks team. They did a great job. The park looks beautiful. They actually did some painting under the pavilion and planted flowers, and it was a great event. All the residents, a lot of residents actually came out today for the event, so I would just like to give them a shout out for that. One more thing I'd like to talk about is the parade. Heidi, I don't know if I can address you personally, but there are some things out there that I think the residents should know. And that is our mayor actually extended an olive branch to the township to do a parade together. When the mayor told me about that, because I've been involved with the parade for the last few years, and I actually paid a visit to the township and said that I was willing and the village was willing to put a parade together. This community has been divided for far too long. There's no reason that we need to have two parades in this community. The purpose of the parade is to unite the community, and that is something that we really want to do. So moving forward, we are going to be holding a parade on August 31st, and anybody is more than welcome to join us. And it's up to you, but moving forward, we're trying to unite everybody, and that's the whole purpose of this, is to bring the community together. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Trustee Reinders. Trustee Steilen.
Thank you. Tonight we're going to be adding some new members to our Community Development Committee, and we're looking forward to that. Our meeting is tomorrow night at 6:30 here at the Village Hall in the community room, and we still welcome new members. And we will be working on that parade in August, and we'll be working with Trustee Reinders as well and staff, and we're looking forward to it. Thank you.
Trustee Mason.
Yes, Madam Mayor. I have a couple things. On May 1st, our Behavioral Health and Addiction Recovery Committee met, and we noted that May is Mental Health Awareness Month. We as a committee encourage you to join us in fostering an open dialogue, show empathy and understanding to people suffering, suffering with this and any type of mental illness, health-wise, and extend support. We also ask that you take a moment to help and end the stigma facing millions of Americans living with mental health conditions. We also urge you to cultivate the understanding towards individuals and their families. Let's just take a little bit of time out to make a difference together. The perseverance and the impact that you can make is hard to overstate. Also on May 1st, our Public Safety and Public Service Committee, we went over quite a few things. One of them was we wanted to make our residents aware, anyone who owns an unlicensed off-road dirt bike, ATV, anything like that, who operate in public places, streets, parks. We have multitude of regulations under our ordinance 200-50. All these apply. Please familiarize yourself with these, your family. Please adhere to the ordinance due to the fact that a minimum violation is $1,000. We've had a lot of complaints about ATVs and off-road and dirt bikes, and it's been endless. I just don't want to see our residents and our neighbors getting ticketed, but we have a no tolerance policy at this point. All efforts to keep our community and our village safe and a peaceful place for all. And if you could adhere, we would greatly appreciate that.
Thank you, Trustee Mason. Village Clerk? No. Village Attorney? Public safety officials? All the way back there? No? Nothing? All right, that means me. Kurt, thank you for touching base on the dirt bikes. Yes, we've received a lot of calls and emails on the dirt bike ATV situation that's happening. I know that the sheriff's office were out there issuing tickets. I believe they did 5 in one weekend. We all want to have some fun. We all love, to ride dirt bikes. Well, some of us do. We just ask that you do it legally. Same thing for the golf carts. Who's ever got a golf cart, make sure that you get it licensed and stickered and, permitted with the village. To address some of the comments that were made from public comment today, Melissa and Joe, the information that was given about the tags and putting stuff on the website, that would be great if we can get that done. I don't know if all the geo reports were done or were submitted to us. Yeah, I know we asked about that before.
We did. I don't know if now we can get something. I'll ask. I'll play it.
Yeah. There was a lot of great ideas that were presented. In regards to Kyle Surges, I did reach out to him personally once I saw that he posted something on Facebook. I do request that residents do try to contact the village first. If they have questions, concerns, complaints, anything, reach out to the village first before you go on social media. All social media does is create havoc, turmoil, drama. We don't need it. Just reach out to the village. We do deeply apologize to Kyle. I'm still unaware of how the photo even came in our possession. But we're going to get down to the bottom of that. Thank you, Rosie, for clarifying the parade. Yes, what you stated is true. Did extend an olive branch. We still have some kinks to work out with some unity for the community in this parade. Hopefully we'll get there sooner than later. And 143rd. Regarding 143rd Street, we are monitoring Senate Bill 3408, which would provide for quick take of certain property along 143rd by Will County. No action has been scheduled in committee regarding the bill at this time. Letters of opposition from the Village of Homer Glen has been sent to our local senators and representatives, along with those senators involved with this bill. If any movement occurs during this session, we will take appropriate action and inform residents what they can do. Submittal of witness slips and/or contacting senators for their support in opposition of this bill will be greatly appreciated. The village, along with our village attorneys, are monitoring the Will County board members' lawsuit filed against the county executive of Will County. Our attorneys will be reaching out to the attorneys for the plaintiffs for additional consultation. We are awaiting a direction on any additional legal actions which may be beneficial for the village and their residents. I have heard the county has reached out to a number of residents in regards to property acquisition, and I encourage residents to do their due diligence regarding this matter. If there's any questions regarding 143rd Street, I ask that they please do not go to social media and ask the questions there. I ask that you please contact the village. There's so much misinformation on social media, it makes my head spin. Please contact the village directly. Mr. Baber has been very gracious on answering all of the emails and the calls that we are getting about it. I want to assure residents we are on your side 100%. We don't like to do things by the seat of our pants. We like to have our information in hand, and we like to come back with a strong suit, not just any willy-nilly case. So with that being said, please, again, reach out to the village with any concerns on 143rd Street or any matter in that, or any issues or matters that you may have. If you have a pothole, reach out to us. Anything. Don't go to social media. And that will conclude my report. A lot of other things I'll bring up in old business. Okay, we are now moving on to consent agenda. Consider for approval the accounts payable for the period of April 26, 2024 through May 9, 2024 in the amount of $275,580.69. Is there a motion? So moved. Trustee Reinders?
I'll second.
Trustee Mason. Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Trustee Steilen?
Aye.
Trustee Reinders?
Aye.
Trustee Mason?
Aye.
Trustee Fialko?
Motion carries. Moving on to legislation and action items. L1, consider for approval payment of the Village of Homer Glen's March legal bills from Peterson, Johnson, and Murray in the amount of $12,609.50. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Trustee Mason, is there a second?
I'll second.
Trustee Reinders, any discussion? Trustee Mason?
No, ma'am.
Trustee Reinders?
No.
Trustee Steilen?
No.
Trustee Fielko?
None.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Fialko?
Aye.
Trustee Reinders?
Aye.
Trustee Steilen?
Aye.
Trustee Mason?
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 2, consider a motion to approve the mayor's committee appointments for all standing committees. Is there a motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? Do I have to read every single one of them? Okay. Here we go. For the appointments to the Ability Awareness Committee, Vice Chair Karen Adamczyk, committee members Angela McKenna, Robert O'Connor, and James Crones. The mayor's appointments to Admin and Finance Committee, Chair Trustee Reinders, Vice Chair Trustee Steilen, committee members Trustee Fialko and Trustee Mason. Appointments for Behavioral Health and Addiction Recovery Committee, Vice Chair Nicholas Volick, and committee members Joe Baber, Mark Raber, Dr. Delac, and Dr. Snow. I'm totally butchering these names. Community Development appointments, Vice Chair Dan Kenny, committee members Ken Marson, Laura Elkins, and Tara Williams, Jim Lanning, John McGarry, Paul McGarry, and Jody Oliveri. Economic Development Committee, Craig Carlson as Vice Chair. Committee members, how do you say that? Isa Alaya, Jeffrey Malinik, Dwayne Blank, Nicholas Volick, and Ricardo Martinez. Environment Committee, no Vice Chair. Committee members Joe Torres, Andy Pinelli, Chris Chapetta, Fran Freiler. Sue, help me out on that one.
Filer.
Yeah. And Kathy Pecora and B. Hisney. Parks and Recreation Committee, no Vice Chair. Committee chairs or committee members Dale Jansen, Bob Kamen, Russell Knack, Matt Hostany, Amy Blank, Marty Pavlik, and Dan Kenny. Public Service and Safety Committee, Vice Chair Dave Bricker. Committee members Brett Westcott, Ron Cuss, Scott Chance, Brett Woods, Jeff Taylor, and Tom Van Fair. The motion has been made. Trustee Mason, do you have any discussion?
I don't. I'm looking forward to several of these. You've got some really good people that are stepping up, and we appreciate that.
Trustee Steilen?
And no comment.
Trustee Reinders?
No comment.
Trustee Fialko?
None.
The only thing I have is that at some point we have to review SOP 1, which talks about the committee's duties. We kind of brought that up when we first came about. Okay, not today though. Okay, at the next meeting, so if the trustees can review, make sure that's what your committees are doing, if you know, whatever there may be. And then Trustee Mason and I had a brief discussion. We're looking at possibly making the mental health committee as a subcommittee, or behavioral health as a subcommittee. We're trying to see if we can work that out. And then there's one other committee, is the Water Task Force, that we would need to bring forward as well. All right, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Who's on the water task?
We haven't gotten that far yet.
Okay. I was going to say.
Trustee Reinders?
Aye.
Trustee Fialko?
Aye.
Trustee Mason?
Aye.
Trustee Steilen?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, consider for approval the mayor's reappointment of John Hand, Lynn McGarry, and Dave Stanley to serve as members of the Village of Homer Glen's Plan Commission. Is there a
I'll
motion?
make that motion.
Trustee Fialko?
I'll second.
Trustee Reinders? Trustee Fialko?
The only thing I want to make sure, it's not that date, but our ordinance 10.3 under procedures, something that's supposed to parallel with this is an annual report from the Planning Commission, both on for the preceding year and making recommendations for the forthcoming year, shall be presented to the village board, which I haven't seen yet, but I'm guessing they would be talking about 10.4C, D, E, F, G, H, and I, J, K, and L in the report. So I'm just wondering, are we expecting a report? Did we receive a report that the board hasn't seen yet? Or how are we working that with these are the top people of the Planning Commission, that's why I'm bringing it up.
Mm-hmm. This is my first year of being mayor and appointing them. I've never heard of a report, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Have we ever done a report?
I have never heard of this
It's
being done
10.3
before.
of our-
I'm not saying, I think if it's in the code, we should probably do it, but
Perfect.
Yeah.
So we'll work on that.
we can do that.
It did come up last year. and then however it worked out, it was going to be covered or looked into, and kind of like this conversation.
Okay.
But anyway, I was just curious if they were going to give some kind of report in the future before May, well, it would be our next meeting in May to cover it. So we still have time.
Okay.
But anyway, that would be it from me.
I see some of the commission members here, so they'll make note of that, right? Oh, absolutely. Okay. Trustee Reinders, do you have anything?
I would just like to say I think they're doing a great job. I've been to several of the Plan Commission meetings, and I think they're very thorough, and I think that they really have their finger on the pulse of what this village is and what the future of this village is, so when it comes to planning. So I have nothing else.
Thank you, Trustee Reinders. Trustee Stylen?
Yes, I could echo what Trustee Reinders says. I've been to the meetings and so appreciate the work that they do before things have to come to us.
Yes.
Trustee Mason?
Nothing at this time.
Do any of the commission members have anything to add? Nothing like putting you on the spot? All right. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Fialko?
Aye.
Trustee Reinders?
Aye.
Trustee Mason?
Aye.
Trustee Stylen?
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 4, consider for approval the mayor's appointment of John Hand to serve as chairman of the Village of Homer Glen's Plan Commission.
I'll make that motion.
Trustee Fialko?
I'll second.
Trustee Reinders, any discussion? Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Trustee Stylen?
Aye.
Trustee Mason?
Aye.
Trustee Reinders?
Aye.
Trustee Fialko?
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 5, consider for approval the mayor's appointment of Lynn McGarry to serve as the vice chair of the Village of Homer Glen's Plan Commission. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Trustee Fialko?
No second?
Trustee Mason, any discussion?
No, ma'am.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Stylen?
Aye.
Trustee Mason?
Aye.
Trustee Reinders?
Aye.
Trustee Fialko?
Aye.
Number 6, consider for approval the mayor's appointment of Colleen Lyons to serve as a member of the Village of Homer Glen's Plan Commission.
I'll make that motion.
Trustee Mason?
second.
Trustee Reinders? Trustee Mason, do you have anything?
I do not.
Trustee Reinders?
No.
Trustee Stylen?
No.
Trustee Fialko?
None.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Mason?
Aye.
Trustee Stylen?
Aye.
Trustee Fialko?
Aye.
Trustee Reinders?
Aye.
Motion carries. Sorry, Rose. Well, thank you to all those committee members and commission members, and welcome aboard if this is your first time. All right, moving on to number 7, consider for a motion approving an ordinance granting 1, a variance to increase the maximum permitted height of a fence located in a corner side yard from 4 feet to 6 feet, and 2, a variance to permit a solid fence in a corner side yard where fences are required to be 50% open in design for certain real property located in the R5 single-family residential district at 12034 Winchester Road, Orland Park, Illinois, within Homer Glen corporate limits, HG 2406B.
I'll make that motion.
Trustee Mason and Trustee Fialko. Trustee Mason?
This has come before us before. We've passed it. The Plan Commission voted 4-0 to recommend, so I have no issues.
Trustee Fialko?
Just trying to see where it said we had this one before. Nevertheless, right, the Planning Commission voted 4-0 in support of this. I also noticed on page 8, even a neighbor commented in support of this on April 18th. And they do have the possibility of getting a pool in the future, it looks like. So I support this.
Trustee Stylen?
Agree.
Trustee Reinders?
I agree as well, but the situation with this lot is it's a pie-shaped lot, and what they're trying to do is they're basically trying to give themselves some more room in their yard because of the shape of the lot. So I have no problem with this, and there's no site objection, so there's nothing to worry about.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Fialko?
Aye.
Trustee Reinders?
Aye.
Trustee Mason?
Aye.
Trustee Stylen?
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 8, consider for an approval an ordinance approving an extension of the variance granted via ordinance 23-025 for certain real property located in the R2 Single Family Residence District at 13550 West Doctor Place, Homer Glen, Illinois, HG 2309B. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Trustee Reinders?
I'll second.
Trustee Mason? Trustee Reinders?
Basically, this is an extension. They came before us before, and they're looking for an extension for like another 6 months because they haven't been able to really find a reputable contractor with a good price that wants to do the work that they need. So I have no problem with that.
Trustee Mason?
That's exactly the way I read it, so I have no issue with it.
Trustee Fialko?
Everybody said what had to be said already. Thank you.
Trustee Stylen?
Agree.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Reinders?
Aye.
Trustee Mason?
Aye.
Trustee Stylen? Aye. Trustee Fialko?
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 9, consider for approval an ordinance approving a final plat of re-subdivision of Lot 5 in Menard subdivision for certain real property generally located in the C2 Local Business District on lots 4 and 5 of the Menard subdivision, Homer Glen, Illinois, case number HG 2301 PUD. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Trustee Reinders?
I'll second.
Trustee Mason? Trustee Reinders?
No, I have no objection to this.
Trustee Mason?
I have no objections.
Trustee Fialko?
None.
Trustee Stylen?
None.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Mason?
Aye.
Trustee Stylen?
Aye.
Trustee Fialko?
Aye.
Trustee Reinders?
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 10, consider for approval a not-to-exceed allowance of $50,000 for site investigation and due diligence related to potential property acquisition, subject to approval by the village president and village manager in addition to the village engineer. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
I'll
Trustee
second.
Fialko, Trustee Reinders. Trustee Fialko?
We don't want to go into too much depth as to what this is. This is being used for something that the village, a project that the village is working on, and we do need this. I don't think we're at liberty to say what it's exactly for just yet, but this is definitely something that is needed. I talked to Brett Westcott at length today about it, and anyway, this is a cushion number 2, just in case. It's not expected that this would be used, and this is only if certain things happen. So.
Trustee Reinders?
I agree with Trustee Fialko. I've also been working with Brett Westcott on this very subject, and this is something that's needed, and I think we need to move forward with it.
Trustee Stylen?
Agreed. We need to do our homework.
Trustee Mason?
I think we all bombarded Mr. Westcott lately.
The only question I have is, the allowance is $50,000. I thought my approval was only $30,000. Would that need board approval? Or is this something,
Well,
This would be authorizing that.
it'd be what?
This is authorizing that amount,
This is our,
above and beyond.
This is the board.
This would be,
I was just wanting you guys, okay. All right, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Stylen?
aye.
Trustee Reinders?
Aye.
Trustee Mason?
Aye.
Trustee Fialko?
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 11, consider for approval an annual contract with Berry Landscape Management for lawn mowing and maintenance of 159th Street right-of-way in the amounts of $46,400. Is there a
I'll
motion?
make that
I'll
motion.
second that.
Mason and Fialko. Trustee Mason?
Yeah, this is something that's needed. It's not much more than we pay our own personnel. It will free up some of our public works people and give us an opportunity to take care of the road for the time being. This is a 1-year, potentially renewable, but I'm in favor. And our lawnmowers are broken and they can't fix them, and it's a safety issue, and it came up in our safety committee. I can do this for a while, so.
Okay, we got your point. Trustee Fialko?
We had the contract last year with this company. In the meantime, the village purchased 2 new lawnmowers to take care of that instead of contracting it out. In the meantime, the lawnmowers, under warranty, have a part that is catching on fire. So they even, John Deere has asked that the batteries even be disconnected. The way I'm hearing it, these won't be repaired until after July sometime. So I think this is a good idea to do this, only because I drove that 159th Street and I'm like, I'll hire my neighbor kid to do it for $46,000. But that's not the case. There's safety issues on 159th Street, getting up those curbs, cutting that grass, and all the way from Will Cook Road to 355, I believe it is. There is quite a bit of grass, and it's long right now too. I think we would be in violation of some kind, Joe. We don't want to find ourselves, so we need to get it cut. But the thing is, what I'd like to suggest in the future, and we talked about it today, Trustee Mason and I, maybe we could work with finding out from the state if we could get a perennial flower or something that would be short, instead of having grass in there, so we don't have to maintain it, whether it be lavender. I said lavender today, I got laughed at, but nevertheless, the thing is, if we could come up with a perennial that could go in there, and we could not have to mow it if the state will allow that, I think that's a better avenue to go towards instead of paying $46,000 a year. I think then cleanup would maybe be once a year for a perennial thing that comes up only once a year. So anyway, I do believe we need this now that I took and drove down 159th Street to see what the real issues are. And safety is part of that.
Is that it?
Yep,
Thank
that's
you.
it.
Trustee Reinders?
I don't have a problem with it at all, and I think Barry did a good job when they were actually cutting it before. And you know what, if you look at the numbers here, they're going to do 23 cuts versus our 13 that we do. So we're getting a lot for our money.
Trustee Stylen?
Yes, I agree, and it's nice to have our staff freed up to do other work.
I do like the suggestion that Trustee Fialco and Trustee Mason had about some sort of perennial, maybe mulch, maybe something that we don't have to have
Ground cover.
constant maintenance out there. All right, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Fialco?
Aye.
Trustee Reinders?
Aye.
Trustee Stylen?
Aye.
Trustee Mason?
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 12, consider for approval one of 5 resurfacing bids that the village received at bid closing on April 23rd, 2024 for the Village of Homer Glen 2024 road resurfacing project. Is there
I'll
a
make
motion?
that
Trustee
motion.
Fialco?
I'll second.
Trustee Mason? Trustee Fialco?
Yes, this is a perennial, an annual thing that comes up for us when it comes to road resurfacing. I believe we've used this company before also. The only thing I want to mention, as I always do, we want to make sure, now the company, last year, who was the company last year? D. They were checking, they were testing their own asphalt. I want to make sure that we're getting the quality that we're paying for from the contractors, because a lot of times what happens is, and I'm saying this for the public too, a lot of times companies will get a contract, and if it's smaller, like a village compared to a major highway, they will put other contractors, assign other contractors to that work. And I'm not objecting to that. What I'm saying is I want to get the quality that we pay for in Homer Glen. We have seen shoddy work here before, so I want to make sure that you or your staff or somebody is making sure that we're getting what we pay for, that's all.
We have HR Green as an on-site manager for the whole project. Patrick and myself do it. That was Mr. Westcott.
All right.
Trustee Mason?
I went over this with Director Woods, and I have faith in his abilities to monitor, so I'm good to go.
Trustee Stylen?
Nothing?
Trustee Reinders?
I think they said it all.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Could you please reread the motion?
With the amount
Oh, the amount wasn't in there. Okay, I see. Motion to approve the bid from PT Firo Construction Company for the Village of Homer Glen 2023 road resurfacing project in the amount of $1,244,098.39. So the first motion I read was to approve one of the 5. I'm assuming you're approving the one from PT Firo? Trustee Fialco?
Well, that's,
Trustee
when it
Fialco
comes to
made
the
it.
roads, I believe we have to go with the lowest bid, right?
Since we are using MFT funds on this project, you are required to take the low bidder.
Right.
Last year, we did not use MFT funds, so we didn't have to, but we did anyway. But this year, we absolutely have to.
So Trustee Fialco, you're changing the motion to approve PT Firo?
I will make that motion, yes.
And Trustee
I will
Mason, you were the
second.
second. Okay. Now, Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Trustee Stylen?
Aye.
Trustee Mason?
Aye.
Trustee Fialco?
Aye.
Trustee Reinders?
Aye.
Number 13. Consider for approval Resolution 24-007, authorizing the purchase of approximately 5 acres of land located at 15077 South Cream Road in the Village of Homer Glen for the amount of $800,000.
I'll make that motion.
Trustee
I'll
Fialco,
second.
Trustee Reinders. Trustee Fialco?
The reason I wanted to talk about this first, I guess, is the reason we had this for a long time was parking for Homerfest. And in that process, we were able to park cars there during Homerfest. What we had done, we had leased that property and maintained it by cutting the grass. And now with the parking in the inner circle for Heritage Park and the cul-de-sac parking, for the fest anyway, I don't see that we need this. And at first I thought it would be a good idea to maybe buy this property, but I changed my mind only because if you go to Will County GIS mapping, That piece of property on that corner over there at 151st and Cream is not rectangle, it's not square, and it's not conducive with our property. So what we have is our property, you've got the library, you got the township, then you've got our property between the township and the, the farm is there too. So I forgot the farm. So the farm is there, and our property that we own in the front over there is to the east side of that driveway. That's village property. To the west side of that driveway for the township, going to the road district, is township property. Then we have this property on the corner. It was said that we could use this for soccer fields. We have no immediate use for this piece of property that would require us to spend $800,000. We have a lot of other irons in the fire right now. Everybody on this board knows the things that we're being challenged with and the things that we have to get done. And I just think it's bad timing, and it's a lot of money that could be spent towards the things we really need to get done. And I don't see an immediate use for it that would be beneficial to anybody. We have to try and plan, put in a parking lot of some kind, make soccer fields if we were going to do that. But I think that can maybe be done down the road. But because it does not all connect, because it's almost $1 million, and we have all these other things, projects that we have to get taken care of first, my recommendation under the motion to consider is not to consider. Okay. I don't support that at all at this point, and for those reasons.
Thank you, Trustee Fialko. Trustee Reinders?
I tend to disagree with Trustee Fialko only because of the fact that we have been taking care of this land for so long, and it's always been a part of the village. So I think to complete our campus, I think it would be a great asset to the village. And also, we on a daily basis get inquiries for more sports fields, for more activities, for more for basketball, for soccer, and it's becoming to overrun the park. We have future plans for this park. There's been a master plan for this park for many, many years, and we just can't put everything into this park. This 5 acres is going to be an opportunity for us to either expand soccer, maybe put in basketball fields there. These are the things that the residents are asking for. So I am 100% in favor of buying this piece of property.
Thank you, Trustee Reinders. I was looking at you, Trustee Steinle.
Not me,
Okay,
right?
thank you.
Not you.
I happen to like the idea of purchasing this property. I think of it as looking towards our future. Maybe we can't see it today, but the location is one that's very desirable. No, it's not contiguous maybe to the village property. It is contiguous to the township. It could fit in with plans for, a civic area. And at one time we had soccer fields, and the township doesn't have soccer fields anymore. And so we've resorted to playing soccer here. It doesn't really fit in at Heritage Park. Whether it's going to go there, I don't know, but it could serve that purpose temporarily. I'm not sure if the cul-de-sac road and the parking that we've added within the park is going to solve all of the needs for the fest. We will see that this year, like how that does, because when we used that piece of property for the fest in the past, sometimes we had to still supplement parking with the junior high, but that might have been due to the weather. We'll just have to see. And I think that's about it, so I support this.
Trustee Mason?
I agree with both Trustee Reinders and Steinle. I think, there's a future needs that we have to be on the lookout for. This property was originally listed at $1.2 million. Village manager Joe Baber did a great job of getting it down to the $800,000. I think it completes our campus. Who knows, maybe a town center right there. We are getting overwhelmed at this park, and I think that since everything is touching, we should continue on and secure that property.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Reinders?
Aye.
Trustee Steinle? Aye. Trustee Fialko?
No.
Trustee Mason?
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 14, consider for approval an ordinance extending the moratorium on new tobacco licenses until June 12th, 2024. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Trustee
I'll second
Reinders,
it.
Trustee Fialko, Trustee Reinders?
we extended it, and we're just extending it again, so.
Trustee Fialko?
May I ask Gina Marcotte,
Yes.
if you could just kind of let us know where we're at with this?
So tonight, the attorney, Marissa Spencer, is going to give an update on the code and the changes. So hopefully, the board can decide if they're okay with the changes and they're good to go. And then it'll be presented hopefully at the next meeting for approval.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Trustee Reinders, Trustee Fialko, Trustee Stylen.
Yeah, nothing.
Trustee Mason?
Nope, I think Gina just answered my question.
All right, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Stylen? Aye. Trustee Mason?
Aye.
Trustee Fialko?
Aye.
Trustee Reinders?
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 15, consider for approval a proclamation declaring May as Mental Health Awareness Month in the Village of Homer Glen.
I'll make that motion.
Trustee Mason?
second it.
Trustee Fialko? And Trustee Mason has the honor of reading the proclamation.
Thank you. A proclamation declaring the month of May as Mental Health Awareness Month in the Village of Homer Glen, whereas mental health is essential to our physical health and our overall health of our community. And whereas the most recent Behavioral Health and Addiction Recovery Panel discussions indicates that there is a great opportunity for our community to work together to increase the mental health for our residents, and whereas 1 in 5 U.S. adults experience mental illness each year, and 1 in 20 in the U.S. adults experience serious mental illness each year. And whereas 1 in 6 U.S. youth ages 6 to 17 experience mental health disorder each year. And whereas 50% of all lifetime mental illness begins by the age of 14 and 75% by the age of 24. And whereas suicide is the second leading cause of death amongst people ages 10 to 14. And whereas in July of 2022, the FF launched 988 to replace the National Suicide Crisis Line in an effort to make it easier for people to access a lifeline anywhere. Now, therefore, I do hereby proclaim the month of May 2024 as Mental Health Awareness Month in the Village of Homer Glen, and do hereby urge all citizens to promote the ongoing education of mental health and reach out to get connected to services if mental health concerns arises. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Mason. Any comments?
I just want to say something I did learn today. The electrical utility industry actually is addressing this at the same time for May. And I did find out as far as mental health awareness, it's been going on since 1949. Anyway, that's pretty nice that we're doing this, so thank you.
Yep.
Trustee Stylen, do you have anything?
Yeah, I just agree. I think probably everybody in this room has been touched by somebody with a mental illness, and if you haven't, you will be. So I'm proud to do this.
Trustee Reinders?
I would just like to thank Trustee Mason for all your hard work and effort putting into this. I think the awareness needs to be out there even stronger because of what's going on in the world today. I think we really need to look at everybody and try to help as much as we can, because it definitely has touched my family.
Trustee Mason, any closing words?
No closing words except for thank you. And yes, awareness is essential. And if it hasn't touched you at some point, you're going to know somebody, you're going to be related to someone, or it's going to be a friend. There will be an issue somewhere. I just hope it's not a bad one.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Mason?
Aye.
Trustee Stylen? Aye. Trustee Fialko?
Aye.
Trustee Reinders?
Aye.
Motion carries. Old business. Trustee Mason, do you have any old business?
I do not, Madam Mayor.
Trustee Stylen?
No.
Trustee Reinders?
No.
Trustee Fialko?
I just want to say, in regards to the parade, I would like for us to get together as a community. I know it was said that it was for community and everything. The parade has always been, and the reason I'm bringing this up is because it always has been done during the Saturday during Homerfest. This year it is not. The township, their permit was not given for the parade. They were told they can't do it. Now, we got this new road down in the southern end of our community now, and I thought that what was taking place there was going to work out well. I haven't seen all the documentation as far as what took place between Will County and the transfer of the road and then us, but the thing is, the community the township has always been part of the parade, always. And as far as people getting together, I think the time, and Trustee Reiner said, we should be getting together as a community. Well, we should be doing that now and figuring out. I know now we've got one on August 31st. It was going to be a different day. Now it's on August 31st. It's messed up to me with the way we're doing it. It should be, I think it should be celebrated like it has for the last how many years during Homerfest on that Saturday. And then some of the things that happened during that parade during that time, like the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile pulls over and parks in the park, and it all kind of worked together. And I just, ever since we've lived here, we've always participated in the parades when they were there. Matter of fact, Homerfest was at Culver Park. That was the first Homerfest that I remember going to, where they had something going on, and it was right after the parade. It was all kind of like in one day. So I hope that somehow the village here can get together with all the parties involved, and we can celebrate as a community and get this back on the road to working together. So that's all I have for new business.
Thank you. I'll add on to that. The parade, as Trustee Reinders had stated, the olive branch was, given already. I had asked to stay out of this one completely when the permit was brought to our attention, because I knew somehow, some way it would be my fault, or I would be the nixer, or I was going to be the bad guy. So I asked to stay out of it completely. There was a couple of comments that were made that I was not aware of. In fact, actually heard the quite opposite. We did extend for the township to do a parade together, and it didn't work out, unfortunately. The offer is still there for them to join in on the parade. We already did the advertising. We already did all of the promotions and getting people together already for the August 31st. So I'd hate to have two parades so close to each other in the same location. So yeah, I really do hope that the township will join with us and see if we can do one together. That'd be great. A couple other things for old business is, just so everybody knows, Illinois American Water, the wastewater, and 143rd, again, are three big topics in town right now. Unfortunately, we can't go public with a lot of the things that are happening for obvious reasons. We got to keep our cards close. But I want to reassure residents that we are working hard behind the scenes. We're not the type that need to go out there and run out on social media and websites and take victory laps when things happen. So we just have to keep our cards close to us and keep moving forward, and once things get accomplished, everyone will know about it. Moving on to new business. Is there any new business? Trustee Mason?
No, ma'am.
Trustee Steinle?
No, I just want to ask, and this has been brought up probably before, we get a lot of variances for fences, that if we can just kind of move up to review that to maybe eliminate some of that, because I just feel sorry for people that have to wait for it to come before the board before they can do something. What was that look?
You reminded me, because the A&F was also supposed to be like an ordinance review committee, wasn't it, at some point?
That's where we're going to do that? Okay.
Yeah. So when we do our SOP 1, you can add that in there, and then Sue, you can, or Trustee Simon, you could take the first stab at it.
All right, yes.
Trustee Reinders? Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Can I just add something,
Yes.
Madam Mayor? So we did adjust the code. I don't remember what round of zoning code amendments for corner side yard fencing, because we were granting a ton of variances for corner side yard fencing. And but when we did that, there was discussion at the Plan Commission level to leave corner side yard fencing on lots that abutted other front yards. So the code was changed to allow for us to administratively approve obstructions of fencing into corner side yards up to 6 and privacy, right? Which is all the way to the property line, in fact. But you have to abut another rear yard or another corner side that matches exactly, right? You can't abut somebody's front yard without going to the Plan Commission, but we're still doing the same thing. We're just checking clear vision now. We're not doing a whole lot on it. It was staff's recommendation at the time to do all of it administratively, but that was the recommendation from the Plan Commission to take that out, and I think the board as well at the time to leave it out. All that was discussed during that code amendment. I would be very happy to change that code to allow it to be administrative. The other thing that we can do, if we don't feel comfortable with it just being administrative, is we can do variances where the Plan Commission can actually grant them. And so I think that's another way to keep it in the public realm but not have to go all the way to board. You can also do public meeting versus public hearing if we prefer that. So there's, I think, a number of solutions, and I'm open to any of them.
Thank you. Trustee Fialko?
Also, for the Planning Commission, under 10.4J, that gives them the authority to also look at it and make a recommendation to us. So I think if Sue is saying, it makes a lot of sense what Trustee Stalin has said, but we should start with the Planning Commission under 10J or 10-4J. And then work it through however you guys see fit, so we won't have to keep coming back to this. I think that's a great idea.
Thank you. Trustee Reinders?
I think it's a great idea. I really do. I think moving forward, it's going to eliminate a lot of time, and and people when they usually come for us, when they want a fence, there's a reason for it, and they want it right now. They don't want to wait to this meeting, and then if it gets changed to another meeting, and then it's got to go to the board. So I think, if we could work on our ordinance, that could be Trustee Stylin's first order of business on our agenda.
Hey, thanks.
For next month.
All right. The only thing I had was Happy Nurses Week. I forgot to say that earlier today. All right, moving on to the workshop. Discussion regarding changes to Chapter 83, Article 3, Sale of Tobacco and Tobacco Products. Who's taking the floor?
You want me to go ahead and get started? Okay. So hopefully you have all reviewed this. I sat down and spoke with Gina and Melissa, and we discussed Homer Glen's needs, and I tried to modify your ordinance to meet your needs. I can walk through some of the basic changes, but really I'm looking for feedback today so that I can go back and make revisions. I want you guys to review it and give me the feedback as to what you want so that I can give you plenty of notice to what changes you would like to see. And if you have any questions today on why I made any of the changes, just let me know. We went through and updated a lot of the definitions. And honestly, we're still looking through as far as to make sure that there aren't any holes. As far as we compared it to the state ordinance, but there are some things that could questionably fit through loopholes, so we might expand some of the definitions, but some of the stuff is newer, but we want to make sure that everything is covered by the ordinance. So we added electronic cigarette, nicotine, tobacco obviously already existed, and we defined primary tobacco sales versus accessory tobacco sales, because this proposed ordinance has two different types of permits. The accessory tobacco sales would be in a business establishment which sells less than 50% of the revenues are from tobacco and alternative nicotine products, whereas primary tobacco sales, that's going to be what you consider like your vape shops. That's where 50% or more of your revenues are from tobacco and alternative nicotine products. We're also proposing a limit of 5 licenses on the primary tobacco sales. Obviously, all current tobacco licenses would be grandfathered in, but the idea would be to eventually reduce the number of licenses down.
Can I pause you for there for a second?
Absolutely.
So when you say 5, does that include You're saying 5 places, oh, that's their primary.
For their primary.
Got it,
So
okay.
that's for the vape shop. So would be no limit on, say, your gas station,
Okay.
your grocery store, those that have the accessory sales. It's the vape shops.
Okay. And then Joe's probably going to kill me when I ask this, but does this, the Cranton, is that something that, I don't even know if I'm saying it right?
That's a big thing right now.
Yeah.
I don't even know what it is.
I think right now, in reading the definition, I think that's included. Am I correct?
I just didn't see the wording in here, though.
Gas station heroin.
You know what, I would,
Heard, I just don't know.
But I know the state is looking at that topic right now too, in regards
and I
to
can-
synthetic.
Tobacco product.
yeah, I think that's an alternative. I think it's like a synthetic drug.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, so I didn't know if it fell under this.
We brought it up at our safety committee, and legal is absolutely correct, and Lieutenant Taylor helped us to verify it. It is a synthetic, man-made product.
And also there's
There's positives and negatives, and we're trying to drill down exactly what's what. Orland just passed.
Yeah, because there's certain forms of it that are actually a leaf product that they've used for years for these purposes, municipal purposes. When we put it on the Public Safety Committee agenda, we got positives and negatives regarding the use of these products. Like I said, I think the state right now is looking at how they're going to regulate this. So that in particular, I'd rather kind of hold off until we see what the state does. I don't know if they're looking at the age requirements. I think our ordinance is 21.
So that's actually one of the updates is, one of the updates is updating the sale of tobacco and alternative nicotine products will now be 21, consistent with the state.
I just didn't know if it was an do you smoke it?
It's
Do you
not,
eat
no.
it? I don't know what it is, so I wasn't sure.
It's more for medicinal use
different
for
forms.
pain.
There's different forms of it that are available.
Okay. I just didn't know if it included, because they talk about vaping and that sort of stuff in here. I just didn't know if it was something you put in something and smoke,
think
or,
so.
I don't know what it is.
There's all different types of forms.
May I say something? I think Joe is right with holding off on this till we find, only because it's not just a tobacco, in tobacco shops it's sold, I'm guessing, but they sell it in gas stations too. So really, I'm not sure it falls under the tobacco thing we're discussing.
Not as far as licensing, it would be a separate thing you examine. That would be like a separate section.
Right.
Ordinance number
Like
2,
I said, I
trustee
think the
Silent will
state-
take on.
I think the state is looking at this right now. I just saw something in the news yesterday in
Okay.
regards to that, so I'd like to see what they come back with. I think that's going to be an age requirement, upping it to 21. So I'd like to hold off and see what the state does on this.
Okay, sorry to interrupt.
And we've had people come and speak at our safety committee and giving us the positives on this too. So it's, we still have a lot of weighing out to do.
Okay. Sorry.
Oh, that's fine. What else did we added a definition of a vending machine and prohibited the sale of tobacco and alternative vaping products from vending machines.
Do they still make vending machines?
I don't know if they make new ones or not, to be honest, but there might be old ones existing, so
Can we just prohibit them?
That's exactly what the ordinance does. So you very well might not have any, but I drafted it just to prohibit them outright, just out of an abundance of caution, just usually because that's something where minors utilize them. And so even if you don't have any, it will prohibit any new ones from existing or being brought in. And again, the 2 licenses are defined. And what else is on here? We added language that a background check is required for all new tobacco licenses. I just changed the language a little bit about who is ineligible to obtain a tobacco license and added language that indicates that if the applicant provides false or misleading information, that in itself could be a basis to deny a license. And I am going to still change now. The term of license right now is going to stay essentially the same, but the verbiage will mirror the verbiage in the gaming ordinance, which says, now the gaming ordinance does have an exception of when the license can transfer, but it's my legal advice to not allow for the transfer or assignment of tobacco licenses, just because this is a health and safety item, whereas gaming, while it
Could be the
is
same.
for 21 and older, I feel like it is a more conservative approach to prohibit the transfer of licenses, just so that you can, you would still be able to issue a new license, but it also, given the fact that you're limiting the number of licenses, it's going to, it will make businesses, consider whether it's worth moving or not, because they might potentially lose their license. And again, given that this is a health safety issue, I would advise to prohibit the transfer or assignment of license. I think you're better off having applicants reapply so that you can do the appropriate background checks.
I see in here under license fees.
So I did have a note of that, which I don't think my notes show on here, but.
Yeah, I don't see what, I mean, I know what it was previously because I did it.
So I would actually advise to take out the fees, and I actually did not see the fees in 11411, although maybe I had the wrong section. But in my opinion, I would advise against putting it in the ordinance if there's another chapter that has it, because if you go and update it, if you have it in two places in your ordinance, and 20 years from now, someone goes and updates it in one section, they might forget to update it in the second section. So generally, I advise, to say that there's either a separate resolution or ordinance rather than citing it directly in under the tobacco section or whatever you're licensing, just so that all the fees are separate and can be changed in one location.
I just wanted to point that out because before we were just talking about in generalization, one fee for all, but I wanted to point it out. I'm sure you guys read your packet already, but there's three different, there's Class A and Class B. So I just wanted to point that out to everybody so they understand the difference.
Yep, and the Class A would be, again, your accessory sales, and the Class B would be the primary sales. I added a section about responsibility for agents and employees. This just adds more explicit language that obviously if you hold on to a license, you're responsible for all your employees, all your agents. Therefore, if they violate this ordinance, you're going to be held responsible. It will affect your license. And the next sections are the sales to and from minors. I took out tobacco because this is actually now more expansive. It includes alternative nicotine products with this update. There's also, these are two sections were also updated from 18 years to 21 years to be consistent with the state.
When did that change? I mean, I know a long time ago, but
Like 4 years ago, I was. Okay,
yeah.
but I'm, again,
I mean, no.
yeah, it might have been, yeah.
we still had 18?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Ordinance committee, here you come.
Okay.
And then I did change a little bit of the penalty section, indicating that any violations could be brought before an administrative hearing officer for review, and that it still allows for it to be suspended or revoked, but there's just a little more language in here. I'm trying to think what else I added. And I added other provisions for which they can be cited, not just, yeah, I'm trying to think what else. Yeah, so if they violate any other ordinances, or if they're delinquent in their license, or any other debts to the city, basically there's just other provisions which they have to keep up with in order to keep up with their license. And I also put, so the sale of tobacco to a minor would also go before an administrative hearing officer. And I additionally added language regarding the denial of a license, just so that if the village board does deny a tobacco license, it outlines the procedure for doing so. This is just to prevent any arbitrary or it establishes a record for when you do deny a license, so that if anyone has an issue with why they were denied a license, the village can establish a record as to why it was denied. So a denial of a license would require a statement from the board as to why they denied the license, a list of convictions, if applicable, which were the basis for the denial of the license, the relevant sections of this article, which were a basis for the denial, and instructions on how to appeal it. Again, this is like a safeguard to make sure, to protect the village, to make sure that there aren't any arbitrary decisions being made.
Well, I would personally like to thank you and Gina, and I know Melissa kind of dabbled in it a little bit here and there too, but I mean, everybody did, for doing this. I mean, there's a lot of blue, which means you did a lot of work, and a lot of red, which means it obviously needed a lot of updating. So I appreciate it. I did read this a few times, but I think this is my 4th one that I've read that with the different changes, so I think I got it down.
And I apologize, because I am going to send another red line, because when I drafted this, I didn't have time to review the gaming, and I do want to make sure that the language is consistent as far as the denial of the license and the assignment transferability, just so you're consistent throughout your code.
Anybody have anything?
I do.
I do, but let ladies first.
Thank you. On page 5 for, at the bottom, C, where it says, no tobacco license shall issue for any location within 1,000 feet of an existing tobacco license.
I apologize, I skipped over that section. That was very important.
And I wonder if that should just be Class B, because could you have 2 gas stations within 1,000 feet of each other?
First of all, all the existing would be grandfathered in, and 2, does it say? You know what, I don't think it does specify Class B, but
No, it doesn't.
I'm not sure what the intention is on that, but I would defer to you guys as far as how you want that handled, but absolutely, it could be.
I just think that there might be 2 businesses that, like a store and a gas station next to each other, and that's not their primary product, but they have it.
Right.
What's our current code, 100 feet for schools, or 300 feet, 100 yards? What is it? It's not, there's none?
No, this was added.
Just liquor then?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so I definitely like that we went up to 1,000 feet for any school.
Yeah.
So trustee Steinlein, you're recommending to change it to say Class B?
Yes, to add Class.
Just so it
no Class B tobacco license shall issue.
Did you have any other?
Yeah, I just have one other, it's minor, on page 4, item F, for the applicant, and it says who within 1 year of application for a tobacco alternative nicotine product or vapor product dealer's license has been convicted of, pled guilty to, or been placed on supervision for any tobacco alternative nicotine product or vapor product related offense shall be considered not of good character and reputation. I just don't think you need to have that shall not be considered of good character and reputation.
I think the reason being is because at the last tobacco, it was because we had the right to deny anybody their tobacco license based off that alone. And I think that came out of the state statute, but we can remove it.
Yeah.
It just seemed, I don't know, something didn't read, something didn't read right to me in there.
Well, it sets a precedent.
Yeah. Let me reword that, but the idea is that if you obtain a license and you violate one of these, you're not going to be eligible for renewal. But let me reword that, because I agree, I don't like that. I probably took that from somewhere else.
There's, I don't know, either punctuation or something is kind of off.
I'll just put something about like not eligible for renewal.
Yeah, because you're trying to set a precedent to stop future wrongful activity.
Okay.
All right, trustee Fialco, or trustee Steinlein, were you done?
I'm done.
Okay, trustee Fialco?
I think as far as you're talking about a conflict with transfer of ownership, I think you will find it, that we do have other things in our village code that allows for that transfer without the way you're explaining it for tobacco. So I'm sure you should be able to find that pretty easy. It was something we covered not too long ago. The other thing is with the state, I
just want to clarify that this will be, the point of this would be that only Class Bs it has the limit on the license. So anyone who's a gas station, any other food store, they will be able to apply and get a new license. So
I'm talking about transfer of ownership, though.
Right.
If there was a sale. I'm just saying you will find a conflict in our code with that.
I'm sorry, I just don't understand. I want you to be able, I want to make sure I'm understanding you as far as what change I need to make.
He's saying that there's another code. I'm assuming you're referring to like liquor or gaming or
Right.
something of that sort.
Yes.
But licenses don't transfer from person to person or
Right.
business to business.
Right.
We can point that out, what he's talking about later. I know
Yeah,
what you're
because
saying.
you're going to go over it, and
Okay.
we can talk
Yeah.
about it, but there is something. The other thing is, you've got the state statute that you built this off of?
For the definitions, yeah.
Okay, because, we've gone through this a little bit, and I've looked at the state statute just enough to get myself
Right.
in trouble. But the thing is, as far as the owner of the business being penalized, right now in the state statute, if I work at a tobacco store and I sell to a minor, I get the fine.
Correct.
In there, you said you're somehow gonna, so I don't know if you're gonna run into problems now saying, well, or maybe we can have the authority to then hold that person. I'm not sure. But
Yeah.
the state statute, the way I understand it, where it reads if they look that somebody's under 30 years old, you're supposed to card them. They don't. They're a minor. The fine goes to actually the employee.
Right, but for as far as if you want to revoke the license, let's say an owner continues to allow the employee to sell to minors, you want to be able to use those actions to revoke or suspend the license. But I will make sure, I will look into that more thoroughly.
All right, that was it from me.
Trustee Reinders?
On page 7, under penalty, one of the things I was questioning here was, it talks about a hearing officer. So we don't have hearing officers,
Well, that would be adjudication.
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 so it would go to adjudication? That's, all right, I want to make
Which,
that clear.
yeah, which I need to review your adjudication ordinance to make sure it's consistent and that it will fit in there, but that's usually how appeals or violations are handled in most other municipalities, but I need to make sure that your adjudication ordinance is thorough enough that it
Okay, I
can
just wanted
go
to
through
make
that
sure.
process. Yep.
Okay.
Trustee Mason?
I think all the trustees had good, valid, thoughts on this, and we appreciate it. I think it's very thorough. I think in comparison to what we had for Chapter 83, Article 3, it's like night and day. So you guys put a lot of work in, and we appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to go back around one more time. Does anybody else have anything else on this workshop? Gina? You good? Okay.
And please, we'll send out another copy. Please feel free to reach out to me, give me a call, email me with any more questions or feedback. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right. It's 7:57. We're going to move on. Is there a motion to go in executive session for discussion pertaining to potential real estate acquisition, discussion pertaining to municipal utilities, and discussion regarding pending litigation?
So moved.
Trustee Mason and Trustee Reinders, all in favor? Aye, opposed?
Aye.
All right. We're going to go into
5-minute break.
exec.
5-minute break?
5 minutes.